Hey guys, so I'm Jordan Steele here from Pattrn. Today we're talking about something very important. We've got extreme heat that has been plaguing the world, it seems like, this year, and health. They go hand in hand, and we've got two great experts that's chatting with me. We got Bernadette Placky from Climate Central, Dr. Gaurab Basu from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. We appreciate your time. I know how busy you guys are, especially right now. And if we look at this summer, we have seen record-breaking heat waves all around the world. So Bernadette, my first question is for you. Heat is one of the first places we can see an actual fingerprint of climate change. Can you at least kind of walk us through Climate Central's Climate Shift Index? Because you guys are doing something really great graphically, which can show us our changing climate pattern.
Climate change can be complex, right? But this is an area that's not so complex. When we add more heat-trapping gases to our atmosphere by burning fossil fuels, we trap more heat. And that leads to more extreme heat events. And the science has come along so far, and technology has too, that we're at the point where we can go into individual daily temperatures and look at the role of climate change within those temperatures. And that's the science that is then put into the Climate Shift Index. So for anyone listening to this, you can go to climatecentral.org, take a look at our Climate Shift Index. It's a global tool that really shows the advances in science and the role of climate change within daily temperatures.
Yeah, and it's great, and we use it all the time here at the Weather Channel. But when we look at how the heat impacts our bodies, Dr. Basu, my next question is for you. It seems like anytime we get a boost in temperature, the number of hospital visits goes up. So what is happening to us?
Yeah, Jordan, thanks. And I really want to credit Bernadette and her team that we've been using these tools a lot. So I encourage people to take a look at it. And it really is an extraordinary moment to realize how many people, more than 80% around the world, have been impacted by unusual levels of heat. It's been an extraordinary month. So yeah, obviously I'm a primary care doctor, and the first thing I think about is my patients. And Bernadette said it just right, that this is actually pretty straightforward. And our bodies work very hard to maintain an equilibrium, a core temperature. Our, basic physiological temperature inside our body is critical to our health. So our body, whenever it's feeling like it's overheating, will work very hard to maintain that core temperature. So the way I think about it is when we are exposed to severe heat, our body recognizes that and changes a number of physiological patterns so that they can compensate for it. So we will increase our heart rate, we'll increase our cardiac output. Our body moves where blood flow goes, shunting it to things like our skin to help us sweat. So sweating is a critical piece of this so that we can get rid of any heat our body is feeling inside. Now, the piece here is that you need a healthy body to be able to do some of that compensation. And if the heat is severe enough, it gets a lot harder to create those compensatory mechanisms. So people who are pregnant, who are older, who have medical issues, babies, the elderly, there are certainly populations that we are have an increased concern about their ability to compensate. And of course, when we're seeing things like we are in Phoenix, that makes us concerned for anyone.
Sure. I mean, in so many locations, but you brought up Phoenix, so I'll talk about Phoenix for a second. Bernadette, we had a record overnight warm low of 97 degrees in Phoenix this year. Can you walk us through how these overnight temperatures are very concerning, and not just in Phoenix?
And Dr. Basu is going to probably explain this even better than me, but it feeds into what he was just saying of the body needing a certain climate to function properly. And when we're pushing it to levels that it's not used to, it doesn't function properly for a lot of people, and it pushes them to extremes that they can't come back from. And overnight temperatures are one of those indicators on the range of temperature extremes that we don't get a chance to recover. We don't get a chance to rest. In past heat waves, when we go back 30, 40, 50, 60 years, we would push the high temperatures, but sometimes our low temperatures would come down lower. One of our biggest increases that we're seeing as far as rising temperatures around the globe is the rate of overnight low temperatures. It's happening faster than our high temperatures are in most cases. And so that plays out through our health in big ways, but other ways too. It's not just our health. It plays out on energy and how we have to run our air conditioners and how we become so attached to those. And some people can't afford them the same way. It also plays into how we build our infrastructure when people work. And those are the big and the extremes that we're talking about. But there's everyday life changes that are playing out within this too. We don't have the ability to take kids to camps the same way, or have sporting activities, or outdoor workers from our farmers and our construction workers and our emergency response people are really being pushed to the extremes when we don't even have a chance to recover, and they can't even do some of their work at night even more.
Well, Dr. Basu, I want you to talk about the health impacts of that, because let's just say the average person sleeps at night. If you don't have air conditioning, you expect your body to cool down. But when we have warmth like this, is that not able to happen?
Yeah, Bernadette said it just right. If your body is working really hard throughout the day because of severe heat and it's compensating, like I was trying to say, it really needs the nighttime to recover. And so, often we are rightly looking at these really extraordinary numbers during the day, but too often we're not looking at those overnight temperatures, and those might be lower than the daytime ones, but actually the fact that it's still too high. And we know climate change from the science of it. One of the important ways it's impacting human health is that it's not allowing that decrease at nighttime. So, things I think about is sleep. Also, there's a lot of signs that that heat is impacting our mental health, our cognition, even things like aggression and cortisol levels, things like that. So we really need the nighttime to recover. And certainly as a primary care doctor, I need to be asking good questions about whether people have the ability to cool, overnight, and whether they have heat pumps that are keeping them cool in their
home. I was going to ask, are in your field, are healthcare workers having to experience training a little differently because of more heat related people coming in?
Yeah. So I'm in charge of the Harvard Medical School climate curriculum. And I mean, we've gotten a lot of support to be teaching our medical students how to be asking these questions better. We have to understand the physiology. We need to be asking our patients questions about, what work they're doing and whether they're, that makes them vulnerable to exposed heat, which populations have, vulnerabilities of not doing well in the severe heat. So for me, I believe that climate change fundamentally asks us to challenge ourselves, to be training our health professionals, to be prepared to protect our patients better.
And Bernadette, do you know of any solutions that are out there, or maybe climate adaptations that are available to us to help us against the extreme heat?
Well, we have to look at this through two ways, right? We continue to raise our baseline temperatures through climate change and burning of fossil fuels. That's one thing that we need to move away from. The second piece, though, are these adaptation techniques. And there have been huge advances in how we can prepare communities in extreme event situations. And there's a few that we can go through, but one of the strongest is strong community networks. And when people are looking out for each other, this is really critical, because heat is one of those things that doesn't hit you like a tornado does or a landfalling hurricane. It's slow. It breaks down your reasoning. You may not be thinking clearly or responding the best way, and you may need someone to step in and take care of you. So strong community networks are so critical, and they show up in so many different ways. Religious communities, boys and girls clubs, from school networks that you have, from camps, from whatever it may be. But strong community networks are really critical to look out for each other in these moments. We also know that shade helps. If you can create shade, whether it's planting trees, which to get enough shade will take some time and it'll lower your energy bills, but also there are artificial shade structures that are being put up in places like Phoenix and even in Philly right now too, to create places where people can get out of the sun. That also leads to cleaner air when we have more trees around too. So there are a few different ways. Another thing is we know that concrete and blacktop, that concentrated heat, and it really boosts the temperatures. So where we can replace dark colors with lighter colors, that's also really helpful.
Yeah, and we know all that's going on. And just playing with my kids under one of those shaded awnings is so much nicer at the playground. Dr. Gaurab Basu and Bernadette Placky, thank you guys so much for your time. We appreciate it. Make sure everybody else tune into Pattrn for more climate science and solutions.